Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Manchester United have reportedly submitted a £68 million bid for Atletico Madrid's Marcos Llorente, the central midfielder that can play on the right wing and as a second striker, is considered to potentially be on the chopping block at Atletico Madrid to help the club recoup funds. Of course, they've been damaged massively from a financial basis because of the COVID-19 pandemic that has stopped fans from attending football matches for over 12 months. The La Liga teams do not have the same level of financial income that the Premier League do in relation to TV money, etc. And that's been a big plan. The report comes out this morning from multiple sources across Europe. We're here to gain your opinions on this. Is £68 million? I assume we're looking to play him in central midfield. I don't know. Well, you never really quite know what Ole's plans are. A lot of Man United fans think today that we're actually playing Bruno in the wrong position, according to where they saw him play yesterday with Portugal. So where will Ole look to play him if Llorente does join? Is this a good bid? Is this the right way forward? Also want to talk a little bit about Liverpool. I read an article today based on a phone call a Liverpool fan made saying they would swap Mo Salah for Luis Suarez right now, no money needed. Liverpool fans, what do you think and what do you feel in relation to that? Chelsea supporters, supposedly, Dortmund have said it's going to cost £154 million to take Haaland this summer if he indeed is wanted. As we've said, that news about your impending bids for him is going to pick up over the next few days. It started to already. The big reports from Germany today are it's £154 million. I want your thoughts. I want your opinions. I want to know what you're thinking and feeling about this. We're going to share the link right now on the Discord server. It's going to be on the general chat page. So go down to the link in our description below. Sign up to the Discord server. It is legitimately the best football chat room on the planet, growing by dozens and dozens of users every single day. In 12 months, there's going to be 10+ thousand people in there daily talking football. So go and sign up to that right now. You also get instant notifications for when we go live. Plus some new things on the way very, very soon, which we're very excited about. So that link has been shared now in the general chat box if you want to come on and have your say. Also, if you have any questions for us, bit of a Q&A today, it's international break, not a mass going on elsewhere. I'm just going to add that to the title because I just realized I didn't do that. Plus Q&A. So if you have any questions you want to phone up and ask myself, we might have some of the Football Terrace alumni on as well. KJ's just arrived backstage. I'm not sure. The rest are normally working, to be fair. Got jobs. Big news about Thierry Henry as well. He has quit social media. And I want to read his statement out because I want to know what people's thoughts are on this. I want to know what people's thoughts are on his statement. I'm going to read it out. He says, "Hi, guys. From tomorrow, I will be removing myself from social media until the people in power are able to regulate their platforms with the same vigor and ferocity that they currently do when you infringe copyright. The sheer volume of racism, bullying, and resulting in mental torture to individuals is too toxic to ignore. There has to be some accountability. It is far too easy to create an account, use it to bully and harass without consequences and still remain anonymous. Until this changes, I will be disabling my accounts across all social media platforms. I'm hoping this happens soon." I'd love people's thoughts and feelings. Will that make an impact? Will that push things forward? I don't know. The problem you've got is the real powerful people on social media, the influencers, need social media. I only think something like that's going to work if KSI, Logan Paul, AFTV, United, like big social media influencers, if they did it, it might make an impact. Henry's obviously a big name, so it's gonna make the news. If loads of normal everyday people did it, again, unless you got 100 million, would they care? If the big influence did it, maybe it would. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna. I think it's a great gesture, and it's him putting his money where his mouth is. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna make the conglomerate stand up and take note? I'm not too sure. What I've seen from a lot of people is a lot of them are moving away from Twitter, and they seem to be focusing more on other platforms. But I want your views. I want your opinions on that. But as we said earlier, Manchester United have made, I'm going to share it on the screen now, a big for Marcos Llorente. That's the main talking point and topic from today on today's show. There you can see our graphic there. Atletico Madrid may be tempted. I mean, one thing I'd say about him, he's got a bloody good hairline, hasn't he? Look at that. I'm jealous of the hairline. The hairline is immense. Look at it. Look at that thing. It's a thing of beauty. It's an absolute thing of beauty. It really is. That's why I need to get myself to Turkey. I need to get that hair fixed up, bruv. It needs to be done. KSI is my guy. KSI is funny, bruv. He makes me die. Oh, KSI done it as well. Oh, there we go. I didn't know that he'd gone away. Is it just Twitter, or is it all social media? I'd love to know. For me, I just think they've got to put locks on it, and people can't remain anonymous. It's like we get it here a lot on a much smaller scale. Let's take it away from real emotive. Just look at bullying. The amount of people that, in fact, the amount of people that are not anonymous have spread lies about me in the last few months on socials, and there's no comeback. I'm able to prove their lies, and you get no comeback. The lie isn't the issue. It's the bullying and the insults that come off the back of it from anonymous people that I then report, and nothing happens. Now, I get it on a very minuscule scale. I can't imagine what it's like to be a famous footballer, actress, actor, politician who is whatever, who's just getting it day in, day out, week in, week out. I made a conscious choice to work on social media, so I've put myself in that firing line. People that are using it for a bit of fun, they shouldn't have to suffer that without there being consequences to the bullies. Will it change much? I don't really know, if I'm being fair. Terry, Marcos is a strong, skillful, direct, and is versatile. He's great. Listen, I watched him play. I think he's very, very talented from midfield. Would he be an improvement on Scott McTominay? Yes. Would he be an improvement on Fred? Yes. Is £68 million too much? It's about the ballpark of his valuation. For me, I'd be disappointed to pay £68 million, which is about the valuation of the player, when Ati are in financial difficulties. If they're in financial difficulties and we can't exploit that as a club, what's the point of John Myrtle? What's the point of having this new system if we still end up paying more than we should? If the club's in financial difficulty, you reap the reward, you swoop in and get it done. And that's what you got to do. Llorente is a Real Madrid reject, by the way. He may be. I want your opinions on him. My view is this, my personal view. If you're going to drop £68 million on Llorente, why are we not going after Ndidi? Why are we not going after Declan Rice? Basuma would be cheaper. Could he do as good a job? And when I look at Ati, Sal Niguez is the guy. If you're going to drop big money on a player, you go for Sal Niguez. For me, Llorente, I think he'd be a good buy. I think he would improve our midfield. But do I think it's going to be exponential improvements? Do I think we're going to see are we going to see a clear night and day? And when I say night and day, I'm talking McTominay versus Pogba. Are we going to see that level of night and day? Not on your Nelly. That's my view on this deal. We're going to get KJ on with us now. And then remember, we've shared the link. It's on the Discord page if you want to come on. We'll also share the link in the live comment section here as well. If you want to speak, if you want to have your say, have your point ready so we can go straight into it. KJ's here with me. I think he's ready. He's looking around on the floor at the minute. I don't know what he's searching for. He's looking for I don't know what he's looking for. There we go. Hello, mate. You all right? I didn't know if you lost something. In this.
No, I was just looking at the wires on the floor, see if certain things were plugged in. Things are fine. Things are perfectly fine.
Llorente to Man United, nearly £70 million bid reportedly made. Good, bad, or indifferent on this news?
It's a player that United should look at. Look, it's an improvement on our midfield. 68 million though. If people are complaining about Haaland and Sancho's price for the players that they are, then 68 million for Diego Llorente is a bit mad. You know what I'm saying? He's had a very good season this season. Last season before that, how good was it? I'm not too sure. And before that, he was at Alves on loan for 1 year, and Real Madrid, they barely used him. So 68 for him to go from 35 million to 68 million. In 2 seasons with nothing really to show for it is a bit wild in my head. But if you said to me, hey, you could get Llorente and you trade Matic in for him or Fred, I'm taking it, innit? Do I believe we're going to do it though? No, because he seems like he's going to be the next Koke for them, or potentially next Saul for them. So it's going to be hard to price him away, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing that makes it doable, in my opinion, is the fact that they have got these financial difficulties. They've got to look to sell somebody. But I sort of feel like, why would you go for him? Like, he's not even their best midfielder. So, like, try and get the best you can. I think it's an upgrade on what we've got, but it's just not. It still doesn't feel like it's where we need to be. And when you consider there's other options in the Premier League around similar prices who come with less of a risk. For me, when I think about Declan Rice, when I think about Ndidi, when I think about Basuma, is Llorente that much better than they are as footballers? And we know those three players can play in the Premier League. They're tried and tested and they've done it here. That would just make a lot more sense to me. But the only thing in the back of my mind is, and I said I would give it a chance. I don't believe in it, but I'm going to give it a chance, is this new profile of player. Nicky Butters walked away because he didn't agree with the approach. Sometimes that type of friction can help improve things, because it's, Nicky Butt was part of the regime he believed in that was failing. So maybe it isn't the end of the world, but I can't allow myself to get caught up in the hype, especially with a player that I think's good, but that's at the elite level. But I don't think he's much better than being good. We're going to go to some calls here. Remember, we are speaking as well about the big price that's been set by Borussia Dortmund for Haaland of around 154 million pounds they want for him. Is that right? Chelsea fans, the question is, would you be happy to spend 154 million pounds on him, but secure him now, or risk losing him to another club, but at a cut price free of 70 million pound in the summer of 2022? Is he worth spending the additional 84 million pounds on? That's the question here. Is he worth the additional 84 million pound? And Liverpool supporters, I'm hearing rumors from some Liverpool fans you would swap Suarez for Mo Salah. I want your thoughts. I want your opinions on this. We're going to go to the viewer calls now. Smash that like and share button, people. Let's do this. We've got TJ on the line first of all. TJ, what do you want to say, mate?
First of all, Terry, KJ, how you doing today?
Well, good, brother.
Good, man.
Well, I just wanted to speak about Llorente. I will speak about Haaland as well. For Llorente, just quick question. You guys play 4-2-3-1, don't you?
Yeah.
Cool. He'd be good for two reasons. Because one, we know he can play as a CDM / box to box, but for Atletico Madrid, he's also played off the right a few times. So, if you wanted, if Man United wanted to, they could play him off the right. But for 68 million, I'm not really sure if that's a risk I would be taking. I agree with you, Terry. When there's players like Declan Rice, like Wilfred Ndidi, around the same price, I would probably go for them. But as for Haaland, I can't see anybody paying 100. I know Chelsea have the money. I know Chelsea could do it. I'm not doubting that that's a thing, but I can't see anybody paying 154 million for him.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put that up straight away. Now, I hear. See, for me, so let me ask you this question. Roman has the money to spend. There's no doubt, especially with FFP being relaxed. Do you think? I know you're an Arsenal fan, but you're in charge of Chelsea. 150 million now, cash. Haaland's yours. No one else is willing to pay it. I don't think City will pay that. Real Madrid, Barca. No one else in the Prem has that money. He's yours for 150 million pound. Or you wait till the following summer where you can get him for 70 million, but everybody in their dog is trying to buy him, and maybe a more desirable club in his eyes comes in for you. What do you think is the best option? Spend an additional 80 million to secure arguably factually the best young striker in European football history, or you wait until next year to compete for him? Which option would you want your club to take?
Well, obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, so I hope they don't do it, but it'd be better to just spend the extra money than now and just get him secured, because like you said, I think 70 million is doable for a lot more clubs. I think 70 million there's probably 4 or 5 teams just in the Prem that could pay that. So yeah, I would spend extra money to get him just based on how good he is and the fact that he's literally scoring goals for fun.
Yeah,
if I were Chelsea, I don't do the 150 million straight up. I just do your 100 million. I do 100 million and give them Werner. I think that because you help them get a player that they need in a striker because you need to replace Haaland. Werner's Bundesliga proven. He's not really working out in the Premier League. It's a bigger shout. It's a better proposition for Dortmund than just getting 150 M's. Because if you give them 150 M's, if you give them 150 M's, you know how many people will shag them for their players now.
Do you know what, KJ? I think that's a great option. TJ, appreciate your call, mate. Really means a great deal. Terrace, thank you, bro. I think your point there makes a lot of sense in terms of how much what people will do to them. A few people in the comments here said, "How about 100 million plus Tammy?" Now listen, bruv. Tammy in that league will do bits, bruv, and in that team he'll do. Look at what's his name did. What was that? The bat. What's his name?
Bastard, yeah.
He could do bits over there. There's no doubt. I wanted to share this on the screen. We've got Indiana joining the panel now as well. This is from the system we use here, Y-Scout. Again, the best system in the world for assessing players. This shows you this is this season, 28 games played. He's primarily been used on that right-hand side. Even though he started centrally, he drifts out to that right. So people have to be very wary of heat maps. You can see starting positions have been central. Only 8% is where he's been slightly to the right-hand side of the midfield. The starting positions are central, but he takes up the positions here on the right-hand side, as people can see. So my only hope, I suppose it's my worry actually, because of Ollie and what he is, that he brings him in and then plays him as a right winger. I hope he doesn't, but that's the profile there, Llorente. I've been studying some of the statistical breakdown, and as I say, we've got a lot of benefit here at the Terrace, because when we look at the stats behind a player, we can look at all the individual stats in terms of numbers, but we have all the video evidence to back it up as well. This is his heat maps as well. That's his general heat map. You can see he doesn't dominate the area. It's right-hand side of even the midfield that he dominates and uses. This is across 3 main competitions. This is the Champions League, the Copa del Rey, and of course La Liga. Because I didn't see the point of putting in things from 4 or 5 years ago. This is what he's done in recent times in an Atty shirt. So it shows you where he plays and where he comes in. That for me looks very much like Scott McTominay's position in terms of midfield. So the question, the view is, it would definitely improve us on Scott McTominay. It's just whether or not it's a big enough improvement. What are you saying, Indiana?
I think we have to get a DM before we get another midfielder, another box-to-box. McTominay and Fred aren't going anywhere. Okay, they're not the quality that we want at the club. But we do need a DM. I think it would help in terms of our defence, like Harry Maguire. Somebody who's just got incredible positional sense. Somebody who's there. Michael Carrick. He's there already. How often do you see Michael Carrick sprinting to get a ball? He was already there. I can't see this even being a target. I can't see it. He's not an out-and-out right winger. We all know we need a right winger. We need a striker. We need a centre-back. We need a DM. Where did this report come from, Terry? Is it a legitimate source? Sports witness. Who
They're not Romano, but they're good.
They translate Sport Witness. They translate articles, and I think that article they translated was from AS in Spain.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that the point is whether, as we said here on the Football Terrace, it's whether or not we think that player works. For me, the only thing I'd say to you, Indiana, is how many times we sign players where we sit there and scratch our heads at why. Like, we all know
what I mean. And that's what I'm saying. I can't see why we would be going for him.
But that is exactly why we would be going for him.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's bit
very true.
That sticks in my throat. Comment here says Roman just spent 450 million on a yacht. He will spend 150 million pound, no problem, especially if Chelsea are struggling to score goals for the rest of the season. Do you know what I'd say again about Roman is this? He will, but Chelsea can raise a lot of that money. Even some of the stars they bought this summer, a couple of them I think might end up going in the summer of 2021 and they'll recoup some of it. It's very unlikely. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, these deals are not done where all the cash is transferred from one bank account to the other in one go. There'll be a lump sum up front. Maybe they'll say, listen, we'll give you 50, 60 up front. The rest of it will be paid over Haaland's contract, which will definitely be a 5-year deal. So they spread the remaining cost. And then if you get Haaland who comes in and is delivering, you don't need to spend big money on a striker again for 4, 5, 6 years. It's a very solid investment. We're going to go to more callers here. Next on the show, we're going to get, Ian is coming on the show. Looks like a Man United fan based on the, he disappeared as soon as I put him on. It's okay, Ian. Baby, come back. Who are we going to put next on? We're going to put Satan's favorite devil on the show. What are you saying, mate?
Hello, guys.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's Egypt's playing now. It's that time of the year where it's the only time of the year where I actually support Mo Salah and wish him well. The rest of the year, I hope the guy fails. But yeah, it's that time of the year again. We're gonna be linked with everyone and their mother. The reason why, this is very worrying to me because, let's say this is true, which I think is very unlikely. This certain profile, that certain type of player in Llorente, it really feels like we might be bringing someone that fits that profile if we are looking to sell Paul Pogba. Maybe he might be looked at as a replacement, which worries me because I don't feel like there's a player out there in Europe that can give us what Pogba can give us. And the other reason why this also worries me is because Diego Simeone sets up his teams in a very, very specific kind of way. Like when these players leave Atletico Madrid, they're so disassociated. It's happened multiple times with other players, so I'm not really too big on signing Atletico Madrid players. That's
Do you know what's interesting as well? And that's what again, I get your point, and that's what worries me. But two things you've said that are big eye openers, and they should be sobering thoughts for Man United fans. If this is a Pogba replacement, what an epic downgrade!
Exactly.
Secondly, Llorente's been fairly successful at Atletico Madrid by what I've read this morning. I don't watch them. He's fairly well thought of. Fans think he's good. He's done well. But they play a system that we absolutely do not want as Man United fans. Mm-hmm. If Ollie's going to play him more progressively, and you have to if he's Paul Pogba's replacement, it just don't feel like the right profile. It just doesn't feel like we're bringing somebody in who's going to be able to deliver for us, because statistically there isn't much difference in the way he plays. Before and after being at Atletico Madrid, it worries me massively as a signing. There's just, I can't even quite put my finger on what it is, but when you just get like a little irking feeling in the back of your head, it is a great one. Satan's favorite devil, appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. Appreciate you. Having a Chelsea fan on next. Abs is with us. What are you saying, Abs?
All right, well on, Terry. Well on, JJ. Well on, Indiana.
How you doing, bro? What do you want to say?
Now, first and foremost, I need to just address the United fans. First and foremost, with the whole Marcos Llorente thing and how it could be the possible Pogba replacement. First and foremost, anyone who you get after Paul Pogba is going to be a downgrade, because Pogba's a rare breed in that he's of a dying breed of technically gifted ballers who has the physicality of the modern day athlete. You're never going to find a footballer like him again. I don't think, not in my lifetime at least.
I agree.
Secondly, with the whole Haaland thing, I've got a feeling that Don Roman's going to pay up. Only because imagine the scenes next year when we get Haaland and you've got flipping Havertz, Mount, all of them supplying the ball to him, and bang, he's going to get 30 goals a season next year if we sign him. And I just don't see Roman, because Roman has a policy where he will not go 5 years without a title at the very maximum. And this year will be our 5th year or 4th year furthermore. Next year will be our 5th year. I think we get Haaland this year, we're on with a shot at winning the league. And I don't think Roman's going to pass the opportunity, because next year, too many people are going to be after him.
So you would advocate as a Chelsea fan, pay the money, get it done. The way I look at it is this: if you drop 150 mil and it doesn't work, you'll get ridiculed and laughed at. It didn't work, biggest flop ever. Because it would be the biggest transfer ever. And if it didn't work, it therefore would equate to the biggest flop, potentially. But if it does work and he bangs in 40 goals, all comps plus some, you win a Premier League, no one's going to bring it up. No one's going to care. For me, I'd rather, if Man United were in this position as Chelsea are, and we were the front runners to sign him, our manager wanted him, but it was going to cost us double this year to next year, but it meant there was no competition, I would pay that money to stop the competition from touching him. Especially when your club, and we look at Chelsea, you're not a club that thinks about, oh, sell on value. Oh, what can we make from this in the future? Your club cares about what do we need to win. And on a relative scale, it's probably a cheaper deal than players like Shevchenko in the past because of the inflation in transfer fees ever since. And Haaland, in my opinion, is as close to a guarantee as delivering in the Premier League as anyone. If you sign him,
it's over.
I think you win the Premier League.
Terry, they win more than one trophy if they sign Haaland at Chelsea.
Oh, bruv. And
they win more than one trophy.
No, but Terry, I still always say, you know what it is, regardless of whether or not we get Haaland, we could probably put in a good run for the title. But with cup competition, especially the Champions League, you never know what comes up in the Champions League. I've seen some terrible teams get to a Champions League final. Prime example was, remember when Liverpool won the Champions League in 2005? That they were by no means the best team in Europe at the time. But guess what? They wanted. They beat one of the best Milan teams that ever existed with, Kaká, flipping Maldini, all of them. So with the cup competitions, doesn't matter if we get Haaland, it's not a guarantee. But with the league, I think it's a wrap.
It's not a guarantee, but it flipping helps. You know what I mean? Like it helps very much so. You can say that. You can say that about anything though. Like Leicester, when they won the league, they weren't the best team in England. But over the course of time, they were consistent. Everyone else dropped off, and so they won the league. You can do that with any kind of thing. But
they were
in football. Huh?
They were the best. They won the title.
Well, yeah, but like you could argue that man for man, like player for player, everything that they weren't the best.
Oh, in terms of individuals,
But my point is that in football, yes, nothing's ever secure, nothing ever's like nailed on, and this is going to happen. But so what you do is try and make it more of a chance of you winning that. And Haaland is that guy. He boosts your chances by 50% more, just because he's there, he's there in the team.
He's there and he's doing it and he's delivering, and that's the important bit. It's so important to bring him in. Plus, financially, I know, and I don't need anyone to explain to me, shirt sales don't directly impact. Chelsea don't have a deal, as far as I'm aware, where they earn commission on shirt sales, but it's everything else that comes with it. What we're about to witness is the birth of the new Messi versus Ronaldo. And this head-to-head between Haaland and Kylian Mbappe is going to be born in the peak of the social media era. In the social media era, do you know how potent the marketing element space is in now? You've got actresses and actors who are in soaps earning 100 grand a year that are refusing to go back to the soaps because they earn 10 times that a year being influencers on their Instagram accounts and their Twitter accounts, right? That's how potent it is. Chelsea, if they market it right with Haaland versus the Mbappe thing, they can make this money back. They can go out to new sponsors and say, we'll put your watch on Haaland's arm and we'll market it that way. His army of fans are going to buy into it. We can take your boots. We can take your shirts. They can increase, just by Haaland's pull power, they can increase their revenues. Not day number one, but over a period of time, they can increase their revenues dramatically to recoup a lot of that money. So even if you are worried about the finances, you're signing a marketer's dream. The only thing you don't really get with Haaland, he's not a looker. If he was a good-looking lad, you'd get even. If he looked like Beckham, it would be like away, on another planet. Do you know what I mean? But listen, this kid is going to be potent on the pitch, and he's going to be financially important for clubs off the pitch as well, no doubt. Abs, thank you for coming on the show, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Artem here says Tomori, Loftus-Cheek, Emerson, Barkley could raise 80 mil. 100% plus Tammy, and I still think you might see a Chilwell or someone of that level go. You're going to raise about 120.
Wow, that's a big statement.
No, I think you may. I think they may. I think they
really.
May. Yeah, I'm using Chilwell as an example. I think one of the big stars that was signed last summer might go. So who is that? That's Timo, Havertz, Chilwell, Ziyech.
Werner, wouldn't it? Be Werner.
Those four were the big ones. I don't think it's inconceivable that Chelsea may decide, and Tuchel may decide to cash in on one of them.
It's definitely out of Ziyech, Chilwell, and Werner. But I personally believe that Werner will actually stay. I know Indiana wants him to leave, so you can call him a flop.
I don't want him to leave. I enjoy watching him miss. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but he's probably gonna stay. I think Chilwell, not Chilwell, Ziyech is the guy that will probably go in the long run because he's the oldest one out of the three.
Yeah, one of them.
And yeah, it doesn't. I don't think he suits what Tuchel's trying to do properly. So,
can I ask you? Do you think they should be winning the league anyway, Chelsea, despite transfers, right? Despite them getting a Haaland in, do you not feel that Chelsea, with the squad and the players they have already, should be challenging for the title next season?
Challenging for the title, yes, with the manager they got now as well. But winning
like
it,
second minimum.
Second minimum, yes. But like winning it, no, because there clearly is a lack of goals in that team, and you need that to win the league. So
Chelsea and Manchester United, along with City, barring the occasional dip, should never be outside of positions 1, 2, and 3 because of the financial clout they have compared to everybody else in the league. If you run the club well and you have a proper system, a proper foundation, surrounded with a great structure, an excellent culture that's designed around winning trophies, you should always be 1, 2, and 3 because you have the financial clout to have a relative monopoly over the rest of the league. All the other teams in every other league that dominate their leagues, why? Is because they have the financial clout over their rivals. But it only works on a consistent basis when you're run well. I think Chelsea lost their way for a bit and they've put it back in place and they're now back on the precipice of moving back to being number 1, number 2 in the country. And if financial fair play is relaxed, then it moves away from those 3 clubs being looked at as should be in 1, 2, and 3. It's those 2 are going to be clear of everybody because you just can't compete. And if their billionaire owners are allowed to spend even more money with when there's no consequence to that, there's no ruling against it, it's good night Vienna. But then the pressures on those clubs, there is no excuse to not be 1 and 2 in the league because you just have that strength over everybody else. Terry, financial play was always not there. Not directly. It caused problems. Teams had to be mindful of it. They had to be careful of it. Managers, club owners, and I don't know the exact details, are not in front of me. I'm not an expert. But a club owner couldn't just give his club 200 million pound of his own cash to stick it in their bank account. That was against the rules. If they relax those rules and an owner can just pump in what he wants, it changes the landscape profusely. Danny's with us now. Danny Devil in the details. Fresh new haircut. Look at that, bro. That's looking good. What you here to say? Llorente?
It's not looking good. It's not looking good. The camera.
You look
Danny, I won't lie to you. You look like a freaking egg. You know what I'm saying?
I got a round head. What can I say? Yeah. So what's the price tag? I've literally just seen the link, Terry. So I haven't watched the last half an hour. So is it 80 million euros? What's the?
Yeah, 80 million euros. Yeah.
Yeah, 68 million pound for Llorente. Is that good business for Man United?
I don't. You know what's funny? So did you see the? Sports Witness translated it right. So AS are claiming we made a succulent offer. That's how it's been translated.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
So how can we? Why aren't we getting Sancho, Terry? That's all I care about. Why aren't we getting Jadon Sancho? What is this business about Llorente? Like, why aren't we getting Jadon Sancho? If that's the money we're putting down on the table for him, then we can do a deal for Sancho. So I know we're supposed to be talking about Llorente, but I've got more questions.
No, I agree. I agree.
You know, I see this and I'm like, if it is true, first of all, is he the profile of player that we actually need on the right-hand side? I'm not convinced that he is. Sid Lowe made a great point after Atletico Madrid got embarrassed and got knocked out of the Champions League, which is this. In La Liga, Llorente looks like he looks like a good physical specimen in the Liga. Then when he came up against Chelsea in a Premier League team, looked very average physically. Very, very average. So yeah, his outputs year on year, not great. He's having a good season, but what, 80 mil or 65 mil? Anything over 50 mil? Like, yeah. I've been speaking to KJ recently. If we're looking at wingers and we've got people in the Bundesliga like Leon Bailey, I'm like, that's capped at 50 mil, and he's put together a better season than this Llorente guy.
Let me say this. Let me say this now. If we're looking to play him on the right hand side and we're not going for Sancho, then you go for Pedro Neto, who I've got a video dropping about him very soon. I've been studying him for the last 4 or 5 days, watching footage of him, reviewing him, looking at what he does. The superiority from a right-hand sided attacking point of view to Llorente is night and day in his Premier League.
It costs less.
It costs like 50 mil is what the touted price is. But if you're looking at Llorente as a central midfielder, my view is this. Is he an improvement on Fred and McTominay? Yes. But still not to the level that we need.
Is he a pure central midfielder, though?
No, he's one of those versatile box to box like
these
man.
Weird guys in Spain, right? That get bounced around from different position to position, especially under Simeone.
For me, he's a tapas O'Shea.
Stop it.
No, but I don't pretend to be an expert on the guy. I just did a little bit of research. I'm like, oh, his heat map, everything's down the right-hand side of the pitch.
So he generally starts centrally. So what we know by looking at him in terms of starting positions, and I'm going to put up here, he starts centrally more often than not, but as you can see, he moves out and drifts. So he isn't used as a right winger, according to this. And a lot of the footage I've looked at him, he isn't used like an out-and-out winger, but he drifts out to the right. So I look at it being as more of a Scott McTominay element role.
Okay. Do you know what's interesting? Like this is how like uninspired I am by this transfer news, Terry. I've been on Y Scout all morning. I didn't even think to look at this guy's. I didn't think to look at him. I've been on Y Scout. Honestly, look. I've been on it. Like, yeah. I didn't even think to look at him because I'm just like, where's
you got your hand over the mic, bro.
Sorry, bro. I'm just like. I'm not. Are you guys inspired by this? Like, I just tuned in. Are you guys inspired by this?
No, bro. No, we're just sitting there like, is what it is. Like,
I am looking forward to Fred, McTominay, and him,
and Llorente.
Llorente. The three of them. Dan James on the wing. Martial up top. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Ridiculous.
Ings and Mings.
Ings and Mings and all them things. Yeah.
Are you not concerned that we're not being linked with a plethora of single pivot midfielders?
Yes, I am concerned, bro.
Does this
that
mean
means
we're going to have to see 4-2-3-1?
Yeah, that's it. Like Ollie has set up his stall. This whole if we get a DM, we can play 4-3-3 and Pogba can do his Regista thing and Bruno with box. It ain't happening. Ollie is set his stall out. He wants 4-2-3-1, week in, week out. That's the way he wants to play. So all you people saying he's got no system, he clearly has one because he picks 4-2-3-1 week in, week out. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know the no system argument is my only issue with the no system argument is it's just wrong. What it is, you don't like his system. You don't like what he does, as opposed to it not existing. But that doesn't get the same. Saying I don't like something is when you present an argument as I don't like something, people just put it down to like, oh, you're petulant, or okay, well, it ain't about you, is it? When it doesn't exist, it has more gravity. But he does have a system. He has a certain type of profile of player he wants. But I just don't see it. And who he's looking to sign. Oh, it just makes me feel a bit sick if I'm being honest.
Also this structure.
Whoa, hold on a second. In terms of the profile that he wants, when it comes to central midfield, we just don't know what he wants because he's not going to get a chance to rebuild it. It's just not going to happen. That's why I find this story just, where's this come from? In terms of what he wants, he needs wingers and he knows it. And every Man United fan should encourage that.
But what he needs...
Wait. But Danny, in some reports, there's been some murmurings about Fletch and Murta saying that they've highlighted the midfield as an area that they now want to go and focus on.
No, of course they do, KJ. Yeah. But there was also a report that the Glazers micromanage every single thing, and they're the reason why we're slow. Apparently, it's not Woodward. Apparently, it's them, because every little decision they micromanage, and a lot of the things that Ollie wants to do gets vetoed. So it's nice hearing you. I saw the Athletic say that if we could sell Fred, we would. But that's Man United. I just saw a story today. We haven't made a decision on one matter yet. That's nothing to do with Ollie. That's these idiots are like, man, if we extend it for a year, maybe we can get a fee. We're about to lose Romero for nothing because we didn't have a strategy to sell him last season. Our transfer policy is not just about the manager.
And like of course it isn't. And like I've said for days now, I have no faith. The more I've thought about it in the last 2 weeks, the less faith I've had in this new appointment of director of football and Fletcher. And the reason I have faith is this: I'm not putting my faith anymore into the way we operate as a club. They have to earn my faith. They have to earn my respect. They have to make me believe in them by pulling it off. So I'm critical of this Llorente signing, and I'm allowed to be. If he comes in and it's like, oh shit, it's working, then I'll go. Then what that does, it means the next time I link with a player that I didn't really think about, I'll go, okay, I'm going to give it more credit ahead of time because you've got credit in the bank. The problem is, I'm also, by the way, just because if we land a top player, if we sign Neto, I'm still not going to be over the moon because I've seen us sign other really good players in the past and that not bloody work either. But when it comes to that right-hand side, video dropping on Neto very, very soon, he has to come in. I was looking at this, some of the statistical breakdown today and then viewing it, what he will bring for us on that right-hand side compared to the two players that I primarily use there now for Manchester United. The level of creativity increases by over 600%, which is exponential growth. It really is. We've got David here with us as
Terry,
well.
correct me if I'm wrong. Is he not a left-footed left winger?
He is, but his crossing ability on his right foot is equally as potent as on his left.
Okay,
so he can do the inverted role that I know Ollie likes, but he can also go on the outside and go to the byline and get his crosses into the box. I've been watching I sat there last night and I watched I counted his last 427 crosses into the box. I watched them all one after the other, how he does them. And it's about 50-50 on both legs. And even when he's on the left, he often cuts back onto his right and crosses in as well. So the variation in his play is exceptional. The problem is with Dan James, you know what he's always going to do. Whatever wing he's on, you know he's either going on the outside or the inside, depending on what wing he's on. With Rashford, what he does is the same. Greenwood does vary when he goes inside or out, but then he shoots. Let me give you this stat ahead of time. Pedro Neto crosses the ball more in a singular game than Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Dan James, and Greenwood combined per game. That's the difference in creativity that comes from him. Plus, his accuracy is 30%. Their combined accuracy is just under 10%. It's a deal that needs to be
top 5 in the Premier League for chances created this season?
I think he is. He's also the best crosser in the league as well. We've got David with us. David, I want to chat to you. People say stats don't matter. They do. David, big news about the Haaland deal being set at £155 million. I'd love your views on it, bro.
Oh, he's going to do it, isn't he? If we get top 4, he'll do it. He doesn't care. I'm so, like, throw any fee you want. We'll still sign him. No problem. I'm not worried. Your Llorente, buy Llorente. He's a centre midfielder who's played right wing for 2 seasons and looked okay. Have it. Keep it. I don't mind. But Haaland...
No, I bet we don't. I bet
Haaland at 155 mil. Roman's like, that's dropping the ocean.
So, from your point of view, let me ask you this question, David. From a financial... There are some people saying, no, it's too much money. Would you prefer just to spend it now so that you don't have to worry about competition next year?
Yes.
100%. And are you worried that the £150 million could be too much pressure for him?
No. I'm really not. I am convinced this is one of the next top 2 players in the world. I'm convinced of it. And if we sign him for 150 mil, think of the money it's going to take to get him out. Because people will still want to buy him. They still will. So...
Yeah, if he comes in for 150 mil and he delivers, and then Real Madrid want him and he really wants to go, it's like, yeah, great, but yeah, 230 mil. It's just going to be. It's.
I mean, again, with FFP disappearing, like Roman does not. He doesn't care. He really doesn't care. Like he was spending 150, like the 150 mil everyone sees now, but 15, 20 years ago when it was a lot more than what people think 100 mil is. So he doesn't care. He's got more than enough money.
£50 million on a player in 2005 is the equivalent of 150 to 200 million now, based on the inflation of footballers. I think someone did the maths on it. Wayne Rooney, that cost £27 million, in today's money, that's a £130 million deal. So it just lets you know. But I swear you spent £26 million on Sean Wright-Phillips in 2004, 2005.
I wasn't even alive to remember. All I know is we signed big people, big money.
That's the madness.
We signed Scott Parker for 6 months.
And again, people got to remember. People look back now and go, 26 million pound for Sean Wright-Phillips is a snip. It wasn't that back then. It was like, wow. It was like the social media didn't exist, but like I remember being at work and the news come out. I want to say it was 26 million. I might be bullshitting. It might have been less. It might have been like low 20s. I remember people at work going, like, just being in shock at how much money they were spending on Sean White-Phillips. And yeah, there's no doubt about it. Let's go to some more callers here. Andre's with us. Andre, what are you saying?
Hi, Terry. You all right?
Yeah, I'm very good. What's on your mind?
Well, just looking at Atletico Madrid player, why not go for Koke? He would replace McTominay, Fred. He would replace Matic. You would get rid of 3 players for one with superb quality. And that's what I would say. I would put my money on Koke. I don't care how old he is. He's got leadership, passing range. He's like Bruno Fernandes, but on the defensive side. He's got all the attributes, and he would fit in the Premier League, I would say, because obviously Simeone.
Koke. I think that window for Koke is gone, my brother. I personally believe, anyway.
You can literally juice out 6 years out of him. He'll be great.
He's 29.
Yeah.
29,
Yeah, 6 years. Him to 35. I don't think that's a good
He's in his
idea.
prime, though. He's in his prime.
He's in his prime.
Years.
That's what I'm saying.
He is. And I just don't believe his prime is good enough for what we need in the Premier League. It's not saying he's a bad player, but I'm thinking about the league and the Prem. We've seen Thiago come to his prime. He's come here, man's struggling. He's not even good as Thiago. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Koke, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, Koke, hot property, yes. But now, I just don't see him leaving, personally.
I'm not. Yeah, I do. I agree. I think he's still a very good player. I think he could do well in the league. But I just sort of feel like at 29, going on 30, I'd want the deal to. I just can't get Ndidi out of my head. If you're going to drop that kind of money, you just go and get Ndidi, don't you?
Yeah.
You drop
I guess
in. He's only got to move 60 miles up the road.
There's more. There's more players than that, though. There's Declan Rice. Obviously, he'd be incredible. Yeah. I wouldn't be mad at John McGinn. I wouldn't be mad at that. That's an improvement on what we've got. I wouldn't.
He's better than McTominay. That's true.
All I'm going to say, you sign John McGinn and you'll still have the we sign his passion merchants running around there.
100%. Andre, thank you very much for coming on, bro, and having your say. Really appreciate whoever you sign. You're always going to listen. Like we said it yesterday. I don't know who was on the show yesterday. People want obscure, out of the ordinary, non-obvious signings until that non-obvious signing is a player they don't rate, and then they say it's cheap and it's poor. And then they don't want the big superstars until you sign one of the big superstars they like and rate, and they say it's brilliant. Football fans have just got very
fickle, bro. We are fickle.
A bit like the no system thing. Someone said earlier in the comments, I didn't put it up, says, Terry, you wouldn't have the balls when Adam Matic is on to say that there is a system. I would. I do think there's a system. I just don't think it's a very good system. Anyone said, like, that's just my opinion. Someone doesn't think one exists, they can have that opinion as well. It's just they can both exist in the same world at the same time. Things don't implode. The world doesn't come to an end in relation to that. We're going to go to some more calls in a minute. Danny's backstage again. Eye test. We put out a question. I want people to phone in and have their say. I'm sharing the link in the comment section. Again, it's who should Man United sign? Who, in your opinion, should they bring in? We've got 10, 15 minutes left on this call. Over 1,000 people watching. So smash that like and that share button. Monsieur Ahmed is on. Liverpool fan. What you saying, mate?
Not too bad, Terry. Who United should sign? I think you need a striker. I'm afraid Martial has run his course, and you need an all-out goal scorer, because at the moment you've got Cavani, who's 35. Rashford can't play down the middle. He loves to play in the wing, and Martial is just not giving the outputs that you need up front. So you need a goal scorer, and obviously there's Haaland in there, but when you go against Man City and Chelsea and some other teams, you're just going to get in a bidding war with them. So I'll probably say, I'm just trying to think down the top of my head on who you can get, but like I said, nothing comes to mind in terms of a Premier League type quality striker that you need.
It sounds mad, yeah, but I wouldn't mind a Luka Jovic or Esmond Edward from Celtic. two physical strikers, two big ones. They're quick and they're decent at finishing. So I need to look into them more. But if we're looking at budget strikers, because we're looking at budget wingers, because we're looking at budget DMs, because everything this club does is on a budget, then I'm starting to look at the Jovic, the Edwards, the Andre Silvers, because
you're getting Big Voot from Wolfsburg, mate. Big Voot, 6'5". You guys love a good cross. You love a good cross.
No, we don't. The thing is, as a team, we don't. As a fan base, we do. You know what I mean? Like, as a team, we don't like to cross. So getting these big guys to head the ball from what ball, fam? Like, it make no sense. But yeah, I feel like the alternative, like Danny Ings is on a free. I can just see it happening, unfortunately. I feel like he'd be a good backup, but
why are we not talking about players out? Why are we talking so much? Like, the wages are just incredible. I was looking them up this morning. So you've got like Twanzebe, Cavani, Phil Jones, Lingard, Pereira. These are all players we'd like out, right? Their combined wages are like nearly £23 million a year, 440 grand a week. Wages are a key factor in signing players.
Indiana, I've said this before. Like, when people say Woodward is there because he makes the Glazers money, he wastes their money. He wastes, from a footballing perspective, he wastes their money. Sergio Romero, we could have got 10, 12 mil for him. He's going to go. We extended Mata. Mata's 32 years old on 150 grand a week, and we're not sure if we're going to extend him again. The manager doesn't play him, but you will consider keeping him just so you can get a fee and save face. We've spoken about this before, KG. Look what we did to Darmian just because we couldn't accept we overpaid for him. 3 seasons we spent trying to sell this man. There was a
point we had a season. We had a season where we could have sold him to Inter Milan direct for more money than they offered, for more money than we got for him. We kept him. We said no that year. We kept him, and we sold him for 1 million to Parma. And for him just to.
So I forgot he was a Man United player at one point. There was actually one point where we had some injuries. And it's like, oh yeah, Darmian plays for us. I forgot we've got an actual natural right back. We don't have to play
exactly. So if you also look at what happened this week, or the last 2 weeks, there's been a few outbursts from Eric Bailly. He has apologized for his outbursts. That's had a very little traction on social media, but he has come out and done it. But it all turns out that he was angry that him and his 8 representatives were fed the information. Man United are looking to get rid of him. It's a cast iron fact. They're looking to move him on based on purely his injury record, not his playing ability, before anybody cries. And they're happy with that. It's mutually accepted. There's all respect going on. But they were informed by outside people that Man United had been touting you out for like 35 million. They know no one's paying that much money for him with what he's earning in terms of salary because of his injury record. So it's almost going to make it impossible for him to leave. So he started getting frustrated. Of course, he came in with the typical PR approach. I love the fans. I love the club. I want to stay here forever. As soon as the club spoke to his representatives and said, no, listen, that information's wrong. If we get the 20 million you've agreed to with us, we'll let you go. Sorry, we apologize. We shouldn't have said what we said. We respect Ollie. We respect the club. It's all great. But I don't trust the Glazers and the board in this circumstance to not try and go, do you know what? Let's try and get an extra 5 mil for Bay. And then it falls apart. And then you're left with a player in the club who doesn't want to be here. And then forget Ollie. You leave your manager nursing a problem that the club has created. And these are the things that people don't like to delve into, research and learn about. And they're so important. We run the club like crap. We really do. So in terms of selling people, Indiana, we all know who needs to go. And I think if we were all write down the 10 players that have got to leave, for whatever reason we think they should leave, we'd pretty much, I reckon we'd have 80% identical. The issue is we don't know how to sell at this club. We struggle to buy, and we're awful sellers. We're awful. We got rid of so many players so far undervalued.
Javier Hernandez, 7 mil, Terry, 7 million.
Even Danny Welbeck, 16 million, a joke. Even 16 mil for Danny Welbeck is a complete and utter joke. We don't know how to sell. We don't know how much money to price people in for. And we don't know how to nurture the relationships to get stuff done properly. It's just awful. JP here says you should look into signing a striker named Lukaku.
That sounds familiar. We had a striker with that similar name. He didn't work out too well for some reason. I wonder what happened to him.
And do you know what's interesting about Lukaku? A lot of the same people that used to call used to call him this, that, and the other. They're some of the main advocates now for him coming back because he's scoring goals. They make me like the shameless. Some of these social media accounts are shameless in relation to that. We're going to get some more calls here. Hakeem Wright is on the show next. What are you saying, Hakeem?
How's it going, guys?
Yeah, all good. What do you want to say, bro?
We've been talking about the midfield spot on the Llorente thing. I'm not sure about it just because he's played so many positions. I think he played right back for Spain last night, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. He's been playing right back for Atletico as well. Like, he's been playing there too.
Like a second.
Do you see why I thought he was a right winger?
Suarez.
When I saw him for a few games, he played on the right wing. So I was like, what's going on?
He's actually a mid.
Yes, I'm not sure about that for 60, 70 mil. The midfielder that I personally would like, since we've been talking about Wolves, is Ruben Neves. That's the guy I think is, for what we need. Passing's great, sitting there. Ideally, obviously, Ndidi and stuff, but I just like Ruben Neves more just for the passing aspect of what he brings to the game. And
Question.
To me, go ahead.
Who would you pair him with in our midfield?
There we go.
That's the other. So here's the other thing. I've come to terms that if Pogba is gonna play for United, he's gonna have to play in the deep role. That's just how I look at it.
Okay, but if we sign Ruben Neves today,
mm-hmm.
Who are you pairing with in the midfield?
Him and Paul.
Okay, so you've identified a player of a similar profile of Matic to pair with Pogba again.
Yeah, but I hear you.
You know what it is, Hakeem? My issue is I think it's clear to me now that if you stick with 4-2-3-1, the player next to Paul Pogba has to have an athletic profile first. Okay. He needs to have a high work rate and be a specialist at least have proper natural defensive instincts from a positional perspective. So I like Neves. If Paul Pogba left and I said you can get 2 Premier League players to pair together in a 4-2-3-1, I'm going with Declan Rice and Neves as a duo. One has the athletic profile that I need and the defensive instincts that I want. The other's positionally intelligent from a defensive perspective, but he's technical as well and can pass, etc., and keep things ticking the way that we need. And the reason why I identify those 2 players, that's not like my own theory. If you look at teams that have won 4-2-3-1 across Europe, Jose Mourinho's Real Madrid, Bayern Munich for the last decade, they always have either a holding playmaker specialist or an athletic defensive player in there with somebody else who can go box to box or is a bit more expansive. That's how the 4-2-3-1 works. That's why I had to ask the question, why Neves if Pogba's the guy we're going to stick with?
No, I agree. I agree, Danny. And I think this is the thing. When you look at Fred and McTominay, it's looking at them two when you look at them two as players, we need to improve the physical element of those guys. You're right, David. We're keeping you awake, mate.
I was literally just stretching.
When you look at those two players, the physical element is like I said, Man United midfield, we work in 2 partnerships. Fred and McTominay have the athleticism and the mobility to protect that back line. They're okay defensively to break up play, etc. The other 2 that everyone says they're our best midfield partnership. Technically, you're right. Matic and Pogba are superior, but they don't have the legs or the work rate needed to protect that back line to make it work. You need to create that combination of the 2. And you're absolutely right, Danny. I hear so many people talk about players. They either talk about pure balling ability or they want pure athleticism. And it's like, well, we're just going to end up in the same position that we're in now. We need to improve, and you need people to have more athleticism and be technically good on the ball. And you'll see a marked improvement, there's no doubt. Akeem, thanks for coming on the show, mate, and having your say. Thank you. Baz with the super chat says, we don't create enough chances for our strikers. Cavani has supposedly elite movement, and in games doesn't get a single chance created. A right winger, CDM, and centre back are needed, is what Baz says. Of course, more creativity, more goals, less goals conceded. All those things will make Man United better in the league.
Yes, it's true.
There's zero doubt. There's zero doubt about it.
I was just looking up Llorente. I know what he is. He's the Spanish James Milner. That's what he is.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't mind that, but is it the specialist that Man United need now? My answer is no. If by the way, if we announced Declan Rice tomorrow and Neto, and we re-signed Pogba, and we bought in Jules Koundé, and then we signed Llorente, I wouldn't have an issue. It's if he's the guy to anchor our midfield and bring us forward, it's just a slight upgrade. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's still the banged out old banger we were driving, but now I've got a bit of air.
This is how you know.
Gone, and I got a CD player. It's a little bit better, but it's still the same shit.
This is how you know that no one actually knows what this brother does. I've seen in the comments, he's an attacking midfielder. No, he's a ball-winning midfielder. No, he's a right mid who plays in a defensive system. This is the issue. He ain't one thing. We've got too many random that can play here, that can play there. We need a DM. If he's not a DM, solely DM, don't chat to me.
He came from Real as a midfielder, and he wasn't very good. So Simeone went, I'll chuck you on the right wing, see what happens. Then he did the whole thing against Liverpool, and he was like, you're now a right winger. Then they had so many injuries up front. He actually played I'm pretty sure he played second striker at some point.
It says second forward.
Yeah, the way he celebrated his goals against Liverpool tells you that he was having nosebleeds up there. He was like, I can't believe I scored! That look on someone's face like, it's me! You couldn't believe it. Man was pinching him for a week. Final caller, ITS Actual Son. What you saying, mate?
How are you, Terry?
I'm good, brother. What you saying?
Yeah, I've heard these rumors about Marcos Llorente, yeah. To be honest, yeah, he reminds me of? He's a Danny Ceballos part 2. He spins on the ball. He spins on the ball. I'm not even joking, but for you to pay 60 to 70 million should be classed as fraud. I'm not going to lie.
I'm not going to lie. I found a transfer. When I saw the translation, it said it's a succulent offer. I was just like,
yeah, you know it's fraudulent.
But why are we being linked with more? What do you think we need? What do you think we need, ITES, son, in central midfield? Who do you want?
Nah, I think we need. I'm not. No, but obviously, I'm not deluded here. So I know what you guys need here. You guys here need a young, hungry CDM. You can do both, yeah, but can also help Pogba athletically, yeah.
So let me know who have you seen on FIFA that can do that for us? Let me know.
Stop it.
Nah, before that, yeah, I'm sick on FIFA as well, yeah. But seriously, though. Yeah, but seriously, yeah, I'm thinking of someone like Valverde from Real Madrid, yeah. Someone who hasn't played a lot of minutes, yeah. Someone who Zidane did rate at the start of the season, but now has been left out, yeah, and someone that you could be lost on the cheap. Someone like you see how we're using Odegaard, yeah? Odegaard is someone that Zidane's looking at right now, yeah, but Valverde is one that's been left in the dirt. If you guys could steal him.
I hear you on that. I hear you. Just interesting. A few people here in the comments are saying you guys are disrespecting him. No one's attacking.
It's a joke, right?
Llorente is in the price thing we're messing about with. In terms of him as a player, he's a very good footballer, and he's better, I would say, than about 50-60% of the players in Man United's squad. The argument is he isn't that specialist in the roles that Manchester United need. He isn't that specialist CDM that's required. He isn't that specialist right-sided attacker that is required. If he's coming in alongside other signings to cover those positions for rotation, so if he's coming in to give AWB a respite every few games, he'll go into that right-hand side of the attack maybe in a few games when we're up against lesser opponents. You know, he covers in the midfield area. If he's coming in to be our new John O'Shea, I don't mind. I think £68 million too much money. If he's coming in to be the main central midfielder to partner Pogba, the main right winger, that for me is where it becomes a problem, because you don't sign Milner to be your main guy. You bring him in to cover holes, and he's basically like a substitute teacher. Like, he ain't the real deal. Like, that's what you need him to be. So it's not about disrespecting him. It's about we know what we think we know. We're fans. What the club really needs. Someone here says bring back Tom Cleverley. Jeez,
honestly, you know what? Tom Cleverley was at least consistent. You knew what you were getting, basic passing, but the ball got there. And that's how bad things are right now in our midfield. The ball just doesn't get where it needs to get to. Even if it's just 5 yards ahead, it's like Russian roulette. Is it going to get there? You can play a game. So you can do a live watch along and take super chats. Get your super chats in right now. Is Fred going to make the next 5 passes? Or the next 5 passes, how many is Fred going to make?
We should do shots, bro. Every time Fred McTominay misplaces a pass, do shots. We'd be freaking drunk, bro. We would be drunk.
And the worst part about it is some of them are not even that hard. Like, I get if they're trying to thread the eye of the needle, you can go, okay, fair enough. You tried to like circumvent 6 players with one pass. It's when it's like, look, whoever, Dan James is open. And how many times does the ball go behind Dan James? So statistically, the pass is completed, but it's overhit, underhit, not accurate. It's all those little things.
And then on top of that, it's like Dan James, cross it in, spoons. It just spoons it somewhere.
On top of that, KJ, one of the most creative players in our team is AWB, but he's creative in the way that he gives the ball away. You can't even predict how he's going to do it. You'll look at it like, no, he didn't just do that. He didn't just do that. He did. He did just pass it straight to that player after dribbling past one guys. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just terrible. And the thing is, if you bring in, and the Neto video is going to be amazing. This kid's great. If you bring in someone on the right hand side that's creative, that hugs that touchline, it then protects AWB from the things that he isn't so great at. And this is what balance is about within a team. It's around looking at it and going, we really need. No player in the Premier League is better at one-on-one than AWB. So, and I'm happy that side of it is the best. I think he's one of the best in the world at doing that. But we have no one on the right-hand side that can pick up the mantle for the creativity. So we want it from him, and he gets stick because he ain't good at it. So you need to bring someone in that is good at it, and then we have a nice balanced right-hand side. Yes, I test.
So, my question is to United fans here. Obviously, you're looking at Neto this summer, but you bought Cavani last summer. So what's the plan going into this summer? Let's say you have 100 million, use it to buy young players or experienced players.
I have no idea. We have no idea. New structure.
I don't know what the plan is, but for me, it's always that combination of the two. There are certain young players that we could look at. What's also needed is experience or people that have got. That's why indeed I'm really encouraged by. Even Declan Rice is young, but he's got a lot of game time under his belt. What would worry me is if we made one really good signing and then 3 more Palestri and Mad type signings who are literally at the start of their careers. At least with Neto, he's got a good, I want to say a couple of 100 games. That might be stretching it. He's got a good 100 or so games under his belt. Declan Rice, hundreds of games under his belt, played internationally. They've got that base of experience. What I don't want is too many youngsters who are, they've had 4 appearances and they haven't started shaving yet. Like, that's what worries me with an approach. But listen, everyone who's tuned in today, thank you. We're back this afternoon. Massive. Who is the Premier League's greatest ever central midfielders? We've done strikers before. Central midfielders is the debate this afternoon. So make sure you're tuning in around 5 p.m. It's going to be epic. It's going to be amazing. I've seen a lot of people today. I really want to get Aiden on the show. I haven't asked him yet because I only saw his tweet today. He thinks that Paul Pogba is better than Lampard or Gerrard. So I'm going to be putting Pogba on the list.
My last point.
Lampard or Gerrard, then he has to be in the debate for the greatest ever. So make sure you're tuning in around 5 p.m. for that show. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you.